Hardcore mode has finally been released for Minecraft Bedrock Edition after over a decade of it being noticeably missing from the game, so to celebrate in this video, I'm gonna be surviving 100 days in this new update. But before we start, let me run you through the goals that I have for these 100 days. The first goal I have is to defeat the Ender Dragon and get myself an Elytra. I also want to kill the Wither, which by the way on Bedrock Edition is a lot, and I mean a lot harder than on Java. After that, I want to make a creeper farm and also actually do some building, because for some reason, building isn't something I do nearly enough of in this game. But really quickly before we start, if you guys could consider leaving a like and also subscribing to the channel, that would mean so much to me, as I'm trying my best to reach 10,000 subscribers. But with all of that said, let's start this Bedrock Edition adventure. And here we are, spawning into a fresh new world. After being slightly confused at my day counter saying 0 instead of 1, I immediately started chopping a tree. After acquiring 6 logs, I crafted some planks and sticks so I could make a wooden pickaxe. If I was a sentimental person, I would keep this forever, but luckily, I'm not. Instead, I dug straight down and gathered a bunch of cobblestone so that I could make full stone tools, as well as a couple of furnaces. Okay, some basic starter tools are now ticked off of the list. Next up on the agenda is some quick food, so I did the only logical thing and ran around like a complete madman, killing absolutely every animal in sight. And something else that was in sight was this pretty amazing world generation. Now is probably a good time to mention that this is actually a set seed. I did want this world to be something special, which is why I chose a seed that literally had every single biome within just a few thousand blocks from spawn. So I did spend most of day 0 looking at the absolutely awesome terrain, killing animals, smelting food, and chopping down trees. I also found a witch hut, which was pretty cool. Get it? Witch? After gathering a couple of bits of sugarcane and melon, I wanted to find a spot to settle down and live. Luckily, there was this little jungle island in the middle of a circular lake that was surrounded by an even bigger jungle. I immediately knew that this was going to be my base location. So after flattening out a little bit of land and getting rid of some bamboo, I made a bunch of ladders and began digging out my mine. I wanted to get full iron armor as soon as possible, because this is hardcore mode after all, and if I die, the challenge is over. Luckily, I dug straight down into a big iron vein, but before mining it, I noticed that it was beginning to be nighttime, so I crafted a bed with the wool that I had gathered earlier from killing all of those animals, and I slept the night away. I began day 1 by mining out those 8 pieces of iron and then placing ladders all the way back up to the surface. I did notice that there was some more coal in the wool though, which was absolutely perfect as I used it to smelt my iron. And while I was waiting for my iron to smelt, I broke down some more bamboo, crafted a chest to dump my mess of an inventory into, and planted the few pieces of sugarcane I had, as well as tilling some land so that I could plant my wheat seeds as well. I figured the sooner that I could start a farm for these 2 crops, the better, because I'd be needing an abundance of both of these very soon. With my smelted iron, I crafted a shiny iron pickaxe and began strip mining at Y15. If you didn't know, Y15 is the best underground level to find iron at, and in doing so, I actually came across some lapis. I also went back up again for a quick detour so that I could craft a bucket and fill it with water. I always like to carry a water bucket with me when I'm mining because you never know when it could come in handy. And also, I get to flex by doing this. After finding a few veins of copper, which, I mean, is fine, I guess, I found one more vein of iron before my pickaxe unfortunately broke. Luckily though, I could just smelt the iron that I had just mined and I could make another pickaxe as well as a sword. I think most of us probably would. Okie dokie baby, it's day 2 now. It's time to get serious. I needed to get as much iron as possible. I actually found 24 pieces of iron just strip mining before 4, I stumbled across a water cave. After having a quick look around, it became apparent that this cave was definitely worth exploring, but not without any armor. Luckily, 24 is the exact amount you need for a full armor set. So I went back up to the surface to smelt my iron, and while I was letting my furnace do its thing, I chopped down this big jungle tree. Okay, full iron armor. Hopefully I should not die in this cave. Ah! Skeleton! Ah! Spider! Ah, ah. I'm not scared, you're scared. Oh, oh. Okay, so far so good. I haven't got into too many dangerous situations yet. I'm getting absolutely tons of ores, and oh no! To be honest, I'm not entirely sure why I keep pretending that I'm speaking in the present tense here, because I'm not. But ignoring that, can we just appreciate this block placing speed for a minute here? Oh, beautiful. Not even close, baby. But after that close call, I decided that I had way more than enough iron for now, and that I was ready to dig down to diamond level. On day 4, I finally found a diamond vein, but unfortunately, it was a little bit of a bittersweet experience. I was so pleased that I had finally found a vein, but unfortunately, it was literally just one. Some would go as far as saying this was a major bruh moment, but I decided to dig a few more blocks around the diamond just in case, and to my luck, I found another one. In total, it was only a vein of 2, so it wasn't quite enough to make a pickaxe, but I was still so grateful that I had found that second one. After that, I decided that I would take a quick break from mining, and after harvesting my little sugarcane farm, I took a quick look around my area, and it was at this point that I decided that I wanted to completely flatten out this island that I was living on. So after watching this very cute panda despawn, I decided to start working on clearing out some bamboo and some trees. After not too long, I realized that this project was definitely gonna take a while, so I figured that I'd do most of this when I had some better tools for the job. I began day 5 by harvesting my wheat farm, and then realizing that there was a woodland mansion right in the distance. I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't know about this, because as I mentioned, this is a set seed, but I had no idea that it was this close to where I was living. Anyway, after that, I decided to go back down into the mines and try to find some more diamonds, as I still only had 2. And I kid you not, after digging like 10 blocks in a different direction, I immediately found another diamond vein. This was incredibly lucky, and for a moment there, I thought it was just another vein of 1, but once again, I dug around it, and this time there was 3 in total. At this point, I had 5 diamonds to my name, and I thought about making a diamond pickaxe and an enchanting table, and then waiting for fortune 3 on my pickaxe before I mine all the rest of the diamonds I needed for full gear, but I decided that it wouldn't really be worth it because I would still need loads of levels and bookshelves, which I didn't have at the time, so I decided to keep mining diamonds without fortune. And by the end of the day, I found another vein of diamonds, and this time there was 4, which was pretty good. So to celebrate just before the nighttime of day 5, I decided to kill this cute panda. On day number 6, after harvesting my sugarcane and wheat farm, I realized that I had forgotten one very important farm that I needed if I wanted to start enchanting, and that was of course a cow farm. I couldn't see any cows nearby, so I ventured off with my wheat to go and find some. And after traveling a few hundred blocks, as well as meeting a sheep who seemed to have some identity issues, I finally found a cow. So I chopped down the nearest tree, crafted a boat, and took him with me. And after making the most low-effort cow pen you've ever seen, I now have 1 cow, but with the power of editing, we now have 2 cows, and we're also on day 7. After trying to not look at my newfound friends doing their dirty business, I decided to go back to the mines, as I was still pretty broke. After not too long, I found another 3 vein of diamonds. I don't know what it is with this world, but it seems like every diamond vein is just so small compared to normal, and oh, hang on, oh, is that a new personal record? 5 diamonds in a vein? What? I was still mining on day 8 when I found this absolutely huge cave. This was a literal gold mine, no pun intended. And just when I thought I explored the entire cave, there was another huge section that I had not seen yet. So I was able to spend pretty much all of day 8 just gathering every ore in sight. I also remembered to gather some obsidian for a nether portal and an enchant table. And I also dyed my bed blue, because, you know, I've got to represent me and my homies on Truly Bedrock. And if you don't understand that reference, well, I thoroughly encourage you to watch my other survival series on my channel. It's a Bedrock Edition SMP called Truly Bedrock with a bunch of awesome content creators, where we focus on just having fun and making videos. Anyway, self-promoting aside, it's now day 9, and I still didn't have any enchantments, so I decided to make myself an enchanting table. I'm still gonna need 40 more pieces of leather to upgrade it to level 30, which is why I set up that cow farm. I also set up my nether portal using some lapis blocks in the corners to once again represent me and my homies. I wasn't quite ready to go into the underworld yet though. I need to remind you, this is hardcore mode, and going into the nether in unenchanted iron armor is way too risky for a noob like myself. So instead, I did something more relaxing for the rest of day 9. I just continued chopping trees and flattening out my area. I also noticed that there seems to be a particularly cute cat right in the middle of my cow pen, but unfortunately it despawned. I also had a slight scare when a creeper creeped up on me from under the trees. And of course, as I went to kill it, my sword broke, so it ended up exploding. Although I didn't get that low in health, it did still worry me a bit because I am a bit of a wuss, so it led me to impulsively spending all of my diamonds on 3 pieces of diamond armor. Day 10, we're into the double digits, baby. I started off by watching my cows do their dirty business. After that, I harvested and expanded my sugarcane farm, and then literally for the rest of the entire day, I just spent my time clearing out the area. At this point, the focus was getting all 15 bookshelves that I needed for level 30 enchanting, so I was trying to harvest and expand the wheat farm so that I could breed the cows for leather, and also harvest and expand the sugarcane farm so that I could get some paper. Each time I was waiting for the baby cows and the crops to grow, I would chop down some trees. This process went on for quite a while, but then I got bored, so I just went back to the mines. I still needed a few more diamonds to completely max out my full set of diamond gear, and I also needed 5 more levels to actually enchant. I immediately found a big vein of diamonds, which actually pushed my leftover diamond count all the way up to 8, so I made a diamond chestplate straight away. I had finally got full diamond armor. Still mining on day 12, and I was actually getting pretty lucky with how many diamonds I was finding. By the end of the day, my pickaxe was almost broken, so I made another one. And I also took this opportunity to make a diamond axe. I then spent the rest of day 12 just trying to make progress on getting all of the bookshelves that I would need, and by the end of the day, I had 4. I still had 11 to go, but we're getting there slowly. On day 13, I continued the grind of harvesting my crop farms and breeding my cows. Each time I was waiting for them to grow, I would chop down one of these humongous jungle trees, which can take a while with an unenchanted axe. I also came across this cute panda, but unfortunately, as I got close to it, it despawned. Day 14 started off well. After watching another cute panda sadly despawn, I continued the grind for bookshelves, but instead of chopping trees while I was waiting, I decided to kill animals instead, and in doing so, by the end of day 14, I was at level 30, and I also had tons of food if I ever needed it. I also decided to make a little bit of a better wheat farm. I have no idea how this little riverside temporary farm lasted so long, but now I had a much nicer 9x9 square. Much better. Day 15 was more of the same thing. Harvesting crops, chopping down trees, and clearing bamboo. All of these items led me to expand my chest monster though. If I was a good Minecraft player, I would organize them, but I'm not. So I didn't. After realizing that my portal had been staring at me for 6 days, I couldn't resist taking any longer to have a little look in the nether. The spawn was actually pretty good. A crimson forest is definitely not too bad, but after having a quick look around, I got scared and went back home. You gotta remember, man, I'm in hardcore mode. I really didn't want to take any chances with unenchanted gear. Can you guess what I did on day 16? Well, let me tell you. The exact same thing again. All day. On day 17, I actually had a little bit of an accident. I somehow got all the way down to 3.5 hearts. This would have honestly been the most ridiculous way to die in a hardcore world. Could you imagine? I also managed to get a trident today, which, if you didn't know, is not actually that rare in the Bedrock edition. This was perfect though, as I would need a trident for my creeper farm, which I'm gonna build later in the video. On the morning of day 18, I continued clearing out my island, as well as watching a very cute panda sadly despawn. I also expanded my wheat farm today. 81 blocks of farmland wasn't quite good enough for my needs, so I decided to quadruple the size. On day 20, I basically did the exact same thing as I've just been doing before, but by the end of the day, my total bookshelf count was up to 8, which was pretty good. I also sadly saw this cute panda despawn. Whoa! Is that wait, no, surely not. Is that a brown panda? What? Aren't you supposed to be like rare or something? Oh no, it despawned, what? But by the end of day 22, my total bookshelf count had gone up to 13, which was pretty good. I have honestly no idea why it was taking me so long to get all of the leather and paper for this, but by the end of day 23, I had finally done it. A level 30 enchanting setup. I then decided to completely get rid of my cow pen, as I literally would never need it again. After that, I wanted to see what enchant I could get on my pickaxe. I was really hoping for Fortune 3, but I only got Fortune 2, and that definitely would not cut it. I had a quick look to see what other enchants I could get on the rest of my gear, but somehow, literally none of them were any enchants that I actually wanted. But after noticing that I had 32 levels, I decided to spend one of them on a level 1 enchant on my iron sword. That way I could just reset all of the level 30 enchants. Efficiency 4 on my axe was definitely more like it. I was hoping that I'd get something along with it, but unfortunately it was just efficiency 4. Welp, now I was back down to 28 levels. So, to get back to level 30, I decided to venture into the nether, but this time to actually mine some quartz. I'm sure you all know that mining quartz is an absolutely great way to get fast XP in the early stages of the game, so after crafting an anvil, I jumped in, and after having a slight close call with some piglins, I managed to get the 30 levels I needed pretty fast, and I could get out of there. Well, for the time being anyway. There was an Unbreaking 3 enchant for my pickaxe, which was pretty good, so I gambled, hoping that I'd get efficiency or fortune along with it, but no, of course not. It was just Unbreaking 3. As you can see here, I was pretty frustrated. So after visiting the underworld once again to get some quick XP, this time with no close calls, I looked at my other pickaxe and there was a guaranteed Fortune 3, so of course I took it. Once again though, it was just Fortune 3, but it wasn't too much of an issue as I could just use my anvil to combine it with the other Unbreaking pickaxe. It still didn't have any efficiency or mending, but for now, I was pretty satisfied with my pickaxe enchantments. I started day 24 by getting another trident, which was pretty crazy, and then I had the idea to go back down into the mines so that I could try my new fortune pickaxe out. Hey, remember remember a few moments ago when I said that I didn't have any close calls in the Nether? Well, when I was in a cave, this happened. I guess the Minecraft gods wanted to balance things out for me or something. To be honest, moments like these really just remind me how important Protection 4 is in a hardcore world. Anyway, because of this shiny fortune pickaxe, I was actually able to get a grand total of 24 diamonds, but as I said, my pickaxe still didn't have any efficiency, which is why on day 25 I crafted a grindstone. Using this grindstone meant that I could do a level 1 enchant on a new diamond pickaxe over and over again until I got a guaranteed efficiency 5 enchant. Yes, I know that this method can waste quite a lot of levels, but I really didn't want to take any risks with my enchanting, as I never ever seem to get lucky. It did take a while, but after quite a few rerolls, I finally got a guaranteed efficiency 4 enchantment. Unfortunately though, I was now down to level 10, so I guess we're going back into the Nether. Quartz was just by far the fastest way to get levels. So on day 26 with my newfound levels, I enchanted another pickaxe with efficiency 4, and once again it was just efficiency 4. For some reason, I wasn't even surprised. But whatever, I could just combine all of my pickaxes together to get an Unbreaking 3, Fortune 3, and an efficiency 4 pickaxe, which is actually pretty good. But in doing so, I was now back down again to 20 levels. So I guess it's back to the Nether for me. Take that, piglins! And just before I was about to hit level 30, I almost died. Luckily for me, I just about managed to block myself in, and after that I could just dig down one block, and the reason I did that is because in this position I could hit them, but they could not hit me. So using this method, I managed to kill all of the piglins and I survived. But then something unexpected happened. As I went back through the portal, I was greeted with a bunch of piglins in the overworld. They must have just walked through the portal, but this scared the absolute living daylight out of me. But luckily, with my super fast block placing skills, I was able to just block them up and run away. And I did not stop running until they all despawned. After quite the fright on day 26, day 27 began with enchanting another new pickaxe. This time I got a guaranteed silk touch, and I did take it because I knew that I would want a second pickaxe for silk touch, but to my surprise I actually got pretty lucky with unbreaking and efficiency along with it as well. So now I have my two almost perfect pickaxes. Sure, there was no mending and they were efficiency 4 instead of 5, but for the time being this was perfect. After a short trip to the Nether again for more XP, I was ready to do another enchant. I tried my luck with Unbreaking 3 on my axe, but instead I got Fortune 2 and Bane of Arthropods. It wasn't exactly what I was wanting, but after combining it with my other efficiency axe, I figured that it would probably be better than nothing, at least for now. At this point, I was getting pretty bored of enchanting, so I decided to take a quick break by putting my new efficiency axe to good use and chopping down loads of jungle trees on this island for the rest of day 28. Why is the sound of chopping bamboo so incredibly satisfying? Oh look! A cute panda. Along with chopping trees, I also decided that I wanted to completely flatten out my island on day 31. I decided to leave this panda be on day 32. I don't know what came over me. I must have been in a good mood or something. On day 63, I made some time to fully harvest and replant my wheat farm. I managed to get 3 stacks of wheat or 1 stack of bread. Nice. Now back to chopping. I decided to take a break from flattening the island on day 34 because I noticed that there was a desert in the distance and I wanted to go exploring. I was mainly just curious to see if there were any desert temples or villages there, so I took a boat with me just in case I wanted to bring a villager back. And as expected, after not too long at all, I found a village as well as a mesa, which is pretty nice. And to put the cherry on top, there was also also a desert temple. And of course, I decided to loot it. I was really hoping that I would get a god apple, but unfortunately, I didn't get one. But I did get some emeralds, which was pretty nice. And because I'm cheap, I even took the scraps of TNT. On day 35, after stealing absolutely every single carrot in sight, I figured I might as well kidnap a villager and take him back to my island. For some unknown reason, there seemed to be some friction between the two of us, but after a little bit of persuading, I managed to get him into my boat. Luckily, there was a river nearby that went all the way back to my island, so transporting this guy back didn't actually take too long. And once he was back, I tried to trap him in a hole, but it really did not go so smoothly. Oh my gosh, stop running away from me! Okay, take number 2. Let's be a little bit smarter this time. Let's make a little bit of a larger hole. This should work. What? My dude, did you just walk on air? Huh? Oh my gosh. Where are you going, bro? To say this villager was annoying was honestly a huge understatement. I'm trying to talk as slow as possible here so I can show you more footage of the absolute pain that I went through. But eventually I had him trapped. Third time's the charm, I guess. By this point, I was so fed up with this villager that I didn't even bother trying to re-roll his trades to something I wanted. I figured I'd just do that later. Instead, I went mining. Because, to be honest, you can never have too many diamonds in Minecraft. I'm back in the nether on day 38 because I still need a few more levels to get back up to level 30. But once I was back up to level 30, I tried enchanting my shovel with Unbreaking 3, but unfortunately, it was just Unbreaking 3. You know what time it is? That's right, baby. It's time to get 3 more levels again by mining quartz in the nether. Who would have expected that one? On day 39, I enchanted my boots with feather falling. I was hoping to get protection 4 along with it, but I got fire protection 3, which I guess is fine for now. On day 39, I decided to re-roll my villager's trades because I really wanted a guaranteed protection 4 trade. But then this happened. He managed to escape the little cubby hole that he was in just as it was turning night. I tried to save him, man. I just couldn't quite get there in time. Now, yes, I know what you're thinking. I could just cure him back into a regular villager, but at this point, I was so over this guy that I just decided to get rid of him. If I really needed villagers again later in this 100 days, I'll just go get some new ones from the village. I went back to chopping trees on day 41. There's still quite a big section of the island that still needs to be flattened out. I'm also having to dig a little bit of dirt here. This would be a lot faster if I had efficiency on my shovel, but whatever. After a few more days of chopping down bamboo and cutting down big jungle trees, by day 45, I had completely flattened out the entire island. Ah, mwah, beautiful. No creepers will be creeping up on me now. Sorry to interrupt, but can we just appreciate this absolutely awesome terrain again for a second? I agree, it's absolutely magnificent. On day 46, I was back in the nether again gathering quartz for XP, and once I was level 30, I decided to risk it and go for Respiration 3 on my helmet, but of course, it was just Respiration 3. You can probably guess what I'm about to do next. Yeah, that's right, baby. More quartz mining. And ooh, Unbreaking 3 on the shovel. At this point, I might as well just risk it. Oh, Efficiency 3. I guess it's not the worst. Whatever. Back to quartz mining. On day 48, I finally got a guaranteed Protection 4 enchantment for my chest plate. I also actually got Unbreaking 3 alongside with it, which was absolutely awesome. It was at this point, though, that I noticed that a lot of my gear was fairly low durability, as it still didn't have any mending. Luckily, though, I still had some leftover diamonds, so I just used a few of those to manually repair my tools. On day 49, we're back to quartz mining. This is the last time, I promise. I went with Unbreaking 3 on my leggings. I was hoping for Protection 4 as well, but unfortunately, I didn't get it. It was at this point that I realized that we were almost halfway through the video, and I still hadn't completed my first goal yet, which was to defeat the Ender Dragon. The reason for this is because the original plan was to wait until I had Protection 4 on all all of my armor, and then I would go and kill the Ender Dragon afterwards. But at this point though, the enchanting process was getting so repetitive and boring that I just gave up on that and decided to just YOLO it and go straight into a nether fortress because I would need blaze rods for finding the stronghold. Luckily for me, there was a fortress pretty close to my portal that I had already come across previously when I was mining quartz, so getting there didn't take too long. And after only a couple of close calls, by the end of day 49, I had gotten all of the blaze rods I needed. Hey, it's day 50. We are now halfway through this 100 days challenge. Day 50 began by trying to get another villager, seeing as the last one may or may not have been tragically killed. As I had an absolute ton of bamboo and logs from clearing out my island, I figured that I'd make this villager a Fletcher, as I can really easily and quickly trade sticks for emeralds. I kidnapped another villager on day 51, and after only a few rerolls, I managed to get a mending trade for 26 emeralds, which is actually pretty good, so I locked it in. On day 52, I decided to put my newly acquired mending book on my fortune pickaxe. I also quickly made a sugarcane farm today because I got rid of my other temporary one a while back. This one is gonna be a bit more permanent though, because I'm gonna need a lot of paper for my firework rockets once I get an elytra, so I thought I'd start on this now. On day 53, I traded more sticks for emeralds, and then those emeralds for another mending book. I put this one on my shovel. Okay, enough faffing about. I need to kill the Ender Dragon. I've got the blaze rods, but of course I don't have any ender pearls. I thought about killing Enderman, but I figured that trading with piglins would be a lot quicker and safer. So I grabbed all of my gold in my chest monster and got to work. But as I was approaching some piglins, this happened. I have no idea how I got so close to dying for like the 4th time this video, but ignoring that, by the end of day 54, I had got all of the ender pearls that I would need. I quickly enchanted my sword with sharpness 2, just as a temporary enchant for the dragon fight, and finally, I was ready to kill the Ender Dragon. So I threw my first Eye of Ender and began boating away. Still boating on day 55 when I came across an ocean monument, which was pretty cool. I also found a shipwreck, which I raided, but unfortunately there was nothing good. Then I found a mushroom island. Now, once again, I would love to say that this was a huge surprise, but as previously mentioned, this is a set seed, so I did know this was there. I also found an ice biome, which was good because I could travel so much faster with my boat. So after impersonating Lewis Hamilton for a little bit, I stumbled across a village. If you weren't aware, in Bedrock Edition, strongholds are almost always under villagers. And funnily enough, there was no exception here. I then realized that I had actually forgotten to bring a pumpkin, which I usually like to do so I don't get bullied by Endermen. But luckily, this village actually had a carved pumpkin there, so I just stole that and took it with me. After digging my way down into the stronghold for a while, I pretty quickly found the end portal room. I was ready to fight the dragon. I spawned on a platform out from the main island, but that was fine because this is Bedrock, so I can just do this. I towered up to the first pillar, broke the crystal, bridged to the next pillar, broke another crystal, and so on and so on. I was flexing my icy bridge skills here to the next tower, and the dragon actually hit me off and got me pretty low. So yeah, that was slightly scary. After getting rid of a couple more crystals, the dragon went for me again. Luckily, I managed to survive with a water bucket clutch. Bedrock Edition definitely makes this whole end fight so much easier. You can get all of the crystals just by bridging from tower to tower, but after another close call with the dragon, I managed to get the last few crystals. Now it was just me, me versus the dragon. And this was the easiest part. All I did was just stand in the middle and wait for the dragon to perch. Once she did, I just smacked her in the shoulders repeatedly. And just like that, the dragon obliterated into a ball of XP. I only got 47 levels, which I have to say did seem pretty low, but I was still happy. I grabbed the torch and collected the dragon egg. This mission was successful, but it is not over yet. It was now time to get an elytra. So I bridged up to the gateway, and definitely not after like 10 tries, I managed to just go through using my water bucket. And once I went through, I was kind of expecting to see an end city straight away, because it seems like I always get really lucky with my end city spawns, but I guess not. This time, the luck just wasn't on my side, I guess. But luckily, I had a little bit of a trick up my sleeve. What I did was that I turned my render distance up to the max, and in doing so, I could see a lot further into the end, and sure enough, I saw an end city with a ship that was actually pretty nearby. And so, after a couple minutes of hobbling over there, I towered up to the ship, stole a brewing stand, killed a shulker, and got myself an elytra. There was also some decent armor, as well as 7 diamonds in the chest, which was pretty cool. I thought about raiding the rest of the city, but decided against it because I didn't have great armor, and I didn't even really need the shulkers anyway. So in my eyes, there wasn't really any point in risking it. I am in hardcore mode after all. So instead, I put my elytra to good use and glided all the way back to my end portal. I wasn't expecting to actually land this first try, but somehow I did, and I impressed myself. Overall, this was an awesome trip. Dragon killed, elytra acquired, life was good. We're back home on day 57, and I wanted to enchant a better sword. And I kid you not, I re-rolled my sword 5 times, and every single time, the level 30 enchantment was Bane of Arthropods. In the end, I just gave up and spent my levels combining my current gear with the gear that I found in the end cities, as well as putting a Soul Speed 3 book on my boots that I had got from trading with the piglins earlier. It was at this point though that I realized I had basically 0 rockets. I only had enough gunpowder to craft a few stacks, so I figured the only logical thing to do would be to make a creeper farm. I really didn't need anything special, I just needed a quick early game one that would sort me out for the rest of these 100 days. So I decided to pick a design from JC Plays, and I began collecting the materials. Well, when I say collecting, I really mean crafting, because surprisingly enough, I actually somehow had absolutely everything I needed. What you're looking at on your screen right now is everything I need to build this farm. So, without any further ado, let's build this. Psych, for some reason, at this point, I went mining for diamonds. I have no idea why I did that, but now, on day 60, I was actually ready to build this farm. And by day 71, the creeper farm was complete. As you can see, this farm is extremely simple. It's just a bunch of blocks and trapdoors placed in a way so only creepers can spawn. Anyway, to celebrate the completion of this farm, I went AFK for half a Minecraft day and fully repaired my elytra, as well as generating a stack of gunpowder, which combined with a harvest of my sugarcane farm resulted in 3 stacks of firework rockets. Nice. On day 72, I mined diamonds again. I have no idea why I keep doing this, but 30 diamonds in one Minecraft day isn't too bad, I suppose. Day 73 began by me admiring the awesome terrain around my base, and after that I bought another mending book from my villager and put it on my chest plate. On day 74, for some unknown reason, I went and gathered an inventory's worth of sand. Once again, I have absolutely no clue why I did that. I think my brain might be a little bit broken. I AFK'd at my creeper farm from days 75 to 77. The reason that I did this was because I wanted to fully repair all of my gear, but the byproduct of that was 5 stacks of gunpowder along with it, which was pretty awesome. I was very pleased that I no longer had to worry about firework rockets. On day 78, I decided to fully unenchant my sword as well as my hoe, as I wasn't really satisfied with the enchantments that I had on them. And after trading some sticks for emeralds to get back up to level 30, I saw that there was a guaranteed Unbreaking 3 enchantment on my hoe. So of course I took it and I got Efficiency 4 and Silk Touch along with it, which was absolutely perfect. So I then bought another mending book from my villager and combined it with this hoe. Apart from having Efficiency 4 instead of Efficiency 5, I now had the perfect hoe. After how well starting over on my hoe enchantments went, I decided to unenchant my axe as well, as that was something else that I wasn't totally happy with. But the main thing that I really wanted was a better sword, as I'd be fighting the Wither very soon. So after mining some quartz in the nether to get back up to level 30, I enchanted my sword with sharpness 4, which was exactly what I was looking for. Unfortunately though, it was just sharpness 4. So I had to mine some more quartz to get back up to level 30 once again. I got a guaranteed sharpness 4 enchant once again on another sword, which was actually very lucky. So I enchanted it and I got knockback 2 along with it, which I was pretty pleased with. I combined it with the other sword to get a sharpness 5 knockback 2 sword. I was extremely pleased with sharpness 5, as that was the main enchantment that I wanted for the Wither fight. But I was still hungry for something better, so I re-rolled another sword with level 1 enchants until I got Unbreaking 3, which was absolutely something that I wanted. I think you know the drill by now. I'm back in the nether for more XP. I stumbled across a bastion on day 80. I had a quick look in one of the chests and I actually found a piece of netherite, which was pretty awesome. I didn't explore the entire thing though, because I was very undergeared for a bastion in hardcore. On day 81, with my newly acquired levels, I enchanted another sword with Unbreaking 3, but unfortunately I got Bane of Arthropods with it. Absolutely disgusting. While I was being a sad smurf looking through my chests, a creeper blew up behind me and got me down to 3 hearts. This could have been it right here. With 19 days left, this could have been the end of the video. I was just so grateful to be alive. Anyway, I combined my 2 swords together to produce a sharpness 5, knockback 2, and Unbreaking 3 sword. There was one particular enchantment that I realized I was missing though. Looting 3. I wanted to gather Wither skeleton skulls for the Wither fight, and I needed Looting 3 for this, as I really didn't feel like spending the rest of these 100 days days just killing wither skeletons. So I crafted yet another sword and began re-rolling the level 30 enchantments. But unfortunately, I used up all of my levels before getting looting 3. So it's back to quartz mining once again, baby. How fun. I ended up getting all the way back up to level 30, so I could try my luck on one level 30 enchantment before re-rolling the level 1s. The level 30 enchantment was unfortunately a guaranteed bane of arthropods, but I decided to take it anyway, just in case I got looting 3 along with it. And to my surprise, I actually did. This was incredibly lucky. So after combining my other sword with this looting 3 sword, and buying a mending book from my villager and applying that to my sword as well, on day 82, I was now finally ready to collect 3 wither skeleton skulls from the nether fortress. I got my first skull very quickly. As a matter of fact, it was actually the 5th skeleton that I killed that dropped a skull. And believe it or not, just a few minutes later, I got the other 2 skulls in a row. Thanks to my looting 3 along with my insane luck, I managed to somehow get all 3 wither skeleton skulls within just a few minutes. I wasn't quite ready to take on the wither yet though. I still needed to enchant a decent bow, as a sword doesn't actually work for the first half of the wither fight. So I mined quartz once again to get back up to level 30, crafted a bow and enchanted it with power 4 and flame. Obviously it wasn't a perfect bow, but at this point it was good enough for me. I quickly traded some sticks for emeralds so that I could buy a mending book and put it on my bow. Because yes, I am in fact a mending bow enjoyer. Please, don't unsubscribe. Anyway, after crafting some arrows, I was now finally ready to complete the 3rd goal for these 100 days. To defeat the wither and craft myself a beacon. So after flying a few thousand blocks away from my home, on day 85, it was time to kill the wither. So I spawned it in. The first half of the fight was actually very easy. I just flew around with my elytra, hitting him with my bow and dodging the wither effects that he was shooting at me. Once I got him down to half health, the bow strat would no longer work. I had to hit him with my sword. But he shot all the way downwards straight into the ground, so I followed him. But when I went in to hit him with my sword for the first time, this happened. My jaw dropped. The wither was literally 1 millimeter away from one-tapping me. It was at this point that I realized that my armor was not good enough for this fight, and that I was severely undergeared. So after this, I tried to replicate the tactic that I was using before by flying up into the sky and playing a bit of ping pong with the wither, but this time using my sword instead of my bow. It actually worked pretty well for a while, until the unthinkable happened. While I was flying in the sky, my elytra broke. Luckily, I managed to survive with this water bucket clutch, but oh my gosh, this scared me. I realized that I'd have to finish off the rest of this battle on the ground. I noticed that it was nighttime though, and I really didn't want to have to deal with monsters, so in the middle of the wither fight, I took a quick nap. When the wither got close to me, I went in for a hit, but once again, I got down to 1 heart. I was so scared that the wither was just gonna one-tap me while I was running away, so I tried to block myself in here, but of course he blasted through my shelter. Now as you can see by my very shaky camera movement, I am really panicking now. I was unsure if I was going to survive. For a solid minute, I really could not hit the wither. Each time I would get close, he would dash away super fast, or he'd hit me and get me really low, and then I would have to run away. I tried using Bedrock's exclusive bridging method to get higher up so I could reach him, but it didn't really work. Eventually though, I managed to get quite a few solid hits on him and deal some serious damage. I found that spamming as many blocks as possible, almost like it was a game of Sky Wars, actually seemed to work very well. After getting a few more hits on him, time, the Wither yeeted me into the air and sent me down to 2 hearts. I probably would have died of fall damage, but somehow I managed to just about land in the water. I was treading on thin ice here, but after all of that, I managed to get the final hit and destroy the Wither. I was in utter disbelief. I could not believe that I had won that fight, and I was just surprised I was still alive. For a moment, I couldn't find the Nether Star, and I got slightly worried, but it turns out it was just hiding under the water, and I'm blind. But there you go, that's it. I had defeated the Wither in hardcore Minecraft on Bedrock edition whilst being severely undergeared. But before I could craft a beacon and enjoy the fruits of my labor, I had to get back home. But unfortunately, my elytra was of course still broken, so I had to spend the rest of day 86 just walking back. I wasn't actually bothered though, I was just so grateful to be alive. On day 87, I was back home, but I needed to relax a little bit after all of those near-death experiences. I noticed that a lot of my armor didn't have any mending, so after trading some more sticks for emeralds, I bought another mending book. I put this one on my leggings. But now it was time to craft my beacon. But unfortunately, because I'm poor, I only had enough valuable blocks to make a 1-layer beacon. But that was fine for now. I decided to put speed 1 on my beacon so that I could walk around my area just that little bit faster. Because now, with only 12 days left, it was time to complete the last goal of these 100 days. To build something. Yes, literally anything. I'm setting the bar very low for this, because like I said in my intro, building isn't something I do nearly enough of in this game. I thought about making a house, but decided against it because I didn't really need one. Instead, I had the idea to make a decorated farming area with all of the crop farms that I would need. I knew that I would want to build out of spruce, but I didn't currently have any spruce to my name. So after enchanting a bit of a better axe, I spent the entirety of day 89 just chopping down big spruce trees. I started working on some new crop farms on day 90. What I wanted was an 18 by 18 block area for each crop. This farm was for carrots and this one was for potatoes. I decided to not make a beetroot farm because I didn't think I would literally ever need it in my entire life. So instead I figured that just having sugarcane, potatoes, carrots, and wheat would definitely be good enough. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering where I got these carrots from, well, I can show you now, but just don't call the police on me. On day 93, I took a quick break to fly around the area. Since getting my elytra, I hadn't taken too much time to have a look at the surrounding area, so that's what I spent the better part of today doing. Like I mentioned at the start of this video, I chose a seed that had every single Minecraft biome nearby. So because of this, it was actually pretty fun just looking around. I also looted a ruined nether portal, a pillager outpost, and even a floating shipwreck, but unfortunately, I didn't really get anything of value. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I did get some potatoes from the pillager outpost, which I did need to start my potato farm, but I did also find a few potatoes from the village, so it wasn't that necessary for me to find more. Anyway, now that I had my 4 crop farms that I wanted, on day 94, it was now time to start decorating. So I hope you enjoy the second montage of this video. And just like that, on day 100, I had finished decorating my farming area, meaning that I had completed all 4 goals that I set out to achieve in 100 days of Minecraft Bedrock Hardcore. I've really enjoyed this world, so if you would like to see me continue and survive 200 days, then please let me know in the comment section, as well as showing your support by subscribing to the channel. Thank you all so much for watching this long video. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it. But with all of that said, this was 100 days in Minecraft Bedrock Hardcore.